There we go. Should be all set. There we go. Yep. Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome to another week. This is SEO this week, episode number 28. What are we gonna talk about? Freaking knows. No idea. Let me open up one of my tools, see if I even put it on this computer yet. There it is. Feely. See what the world's talking about SEO wise. Let's see. I do know Adobe launched, it's called Adobe Firefly. It's their version of a AI image generator. I signed up for the beta for that, waiting for access. They have a Discord as well, and some people are sharing the stuff that they're working with, but it's nowhere the volume that say my Midjourney has with people sharing. I'm assuming that they did it on purpose and kind of there's probably a user interface that I just don't have access to yet that will have hopefully it'll have more like examples. These are images that people made. That would be pretty cool. Also, if you have access to Bing, I know on my mobile device, my iPhone, I can make images using Bing's image AI creator, but I haven't tried it out on my desktop browser yet. And that was okay. I'm not really good on the whole artsy prompts and all that stuff. Really, I use a lot of Midjourney, and essentially just watch what other people are making and then use my account to enhance and blow up and use their images. I mean, there are all these really art-minded people that are making some cool stuff. So it's pretty neat watching that. You get to learn some of the prompts for those tools too. So I guess if you're looking for content, image content for your sites, any of those options would actually be pretty good. I know the Firefly and Bings are watermarked, but Midjourneys are not. So that's having the Bing or Firefly watermarks on your pages is a point of concern for you. Then you have to deal with that. Otherwise, I think those are pretty cool tools. Let's see. Still looking to see if there's anything going on. Everyone's just talking about chats these days. I will say that Google was releasing access to Bard, their answer to ChatGPT, if you don't know by now. And it was no less than a day or two that there were people already talking about this is how you SEO for Bard. And if you want to get your pages cited in Bard, this is how you do it. Now, Google just released the fucking system. Pardon my language if that offends you, but they just released the system, and then all of a sudden there's these people out there pretending that they actually knew. What I like about people who do that is because I get to add them to my disqualified list, and what that means is that they can be attached to a big agency. It could be well known for speaking on their topics and stuff, but if they're already making these outlandish claims, that early into getting access to a system, then you can pretty much guarantee that they're making the same outlandish claims about everything that they're talking about. And I just find it an easy way to filter the trash. You know what I mean? So if I ever just got access to, I don't know, Bard, and then I told you, hey, you should go out and, go rank these pages and do this and do that and put audio schema on there and all kinds of other craziness. And then you see me, like in my social media, I got access to Bard today, and all of a sudden I got a class. It might mean I'm full of shit. so, it's a good filter, if you want to say filter, that you could use when you're going through and checking people's stuff out. Just apply a little common sense. If no one else has access to it, or if you just got access to it because they just announced that they're releasing it, then why are these people just like, are they special? Are they on the Google Blowjob Club and get access early? Maybe. I don't know, but it seems kind of odd to me. So put it in that way. Ted was so right. Testing is great. Ted didn't come up with that. That was me. Test everything, even the stuff that Ted says you should be testing it. Let's see. Online Ninja. How should I use SEO Autopilot to build links? However you want to use it. It's at the end of the day, there's some built-in diagrams inside of there, and Elias, that's the guy who he owns it, and Christoph, I want to say his name is Christoph. He's the guy that developed it. They have these templates in there that you can use to rank pages based off of the way that they teach you to use it. I mean, they are the software creators, so Elias has this whole plan of how to use, I think it's DAS. There's a DAS. I don't, it's not the DAS stack, but that's kind of how I think of it. He's got that in there in that training. But what I always tell people is I don't like teaching link building, in particular. This is how you should link build. Or use this diagram, or use this tool and use it in this way, or whatever. You know what I mean? I like to give you the functionality of it and then kind of send you off on your path, right? You got to figure out the way that works for you, for your market, for your website, for your keyword, and you gotta test that stuff out. Because what I may do, or what Jeff may do, or what you may do, could result in 3 different outcomes, right? So you gotta figure that part out on your own. SEO Snake is, how would you naturally link to product roundups? For example, best bass guitar for beginners is the keyword reprocess for planner links. There's a couple approaches you can do with that. One, let's assume that you're in affiliate programs that are not Amazon, and the guitars that you're highlighting, one or all of them, have an affiliate offer associated with the brand. You can actually reach out to the brands and go, here, hey, I just did this. And oftentimes they kind of like, especially if your site gets a lot of traffic, they like you showing them off. So you've got that option. And then the other route is to do like everyone else does who likes money, and that's buy backlinks. So, and you can buy backlinks via an outreach plan or PBNs, or build your own PBN, or you can go the Greg Morrison route. He builds a new website and he buys PBNs until it's ranking where it goes, and then he's pretty much done with it. Or he's using Costas's service I think it's still only available if you're an OMG member, but it's now it's Traffic Hackers, which is essentially buying outreach. He's just done all the outreach work for you. So you got those two things. If it was me, I'd probably build 10 links at a time, and I do tier stuff, and I have a specific anchor text plan that I follow. I don't give that up very much because it works for me. You know what I mean? It's my plan there. Have given out variations of it, but in general, I would just say, yeah, really good tier ones. Build 10 at a time until you're ranking for that keyword. Don't go. I will say this: don't go exact match. I would go brand name to that page versus exact match, or even listing the different guitars would be okay. Using anchors, the different anchors for each of the guitars that are on that list would be good. But don't go specifically tier one best brass guitar for beginners. Go with the brand name as your primary, and that will actually help you out. Let's see, Eric, what's up, dude? Question for you. I'm going with 38 marketing to do a press release. I noticed that most of the backlinks are no follow. I think a bunch of these go into period. Does a PR still give good juice since most links? Yeah, define good. It's really there's usually, depending on the service, you're looking at 15 to 20 good backlinks, right? That you can pretty much assure that they're going to stick for a decent amount of time. All backlinks at some point or another have what are called link decay. So if you get a page on a backlink on a guest post site, for example, a guest post offering, and let's say that doesn't get any backlinks, doesn't get any traffic, and it may or may not fall out of the index. More likely these days it will. So, and that's link decay, and that'll happen with PRs. It just goes, it's actually faster. And then those services that use APIs, I want to say Market Watch is one that's really popular. It's syndicated via an API. It goes to a few hundred websites, and then you can pretty much guarantee that they're deleted. It's cycled through. They don't want to keep it up there forever. It's old news, and they want to keep the site maintained, so it cycles those pages out. So that just happens. So I look at the reports that I get back, and then I'll just focus on the 10 or 20 really good sites that are typically in those lists, and then I'll build backlinks to those links. And that I know that those better sites, that stuff will actually be around there longer, and more than likely those are the ones that are going to be in the index and the search results for you anyway. But if they're no follow versus defollow, no, I don't care. No follow is used as a hint that's long been proven over and over again that you can rank with no follow links only. So I don't even stress that no follow, defollow shit anymore. There are a couple services. Magic's service, he used Global Newswire to syndicate. Global Newswire's got a redirect in there. It's a 302. There are some arguments against that. I know that he's been pushing with them to get him to remove it. Just one less thing you got to deal with. But I mean, and some of the sites he's got too that don't have that Global Newswire because he pushes through multiple syndicators. Well, oftentimes a lot of the services only push through one. So you just got to get through the list and figure that out. PRs still give good link juice since most PRs, yeah, got it. So, and then as how Ted promotes those services is he uses them to build up referring domains, and I don't know that you necessarily need a page needs 30, 40, 50, or I mean, in a lot of cases, a couple hundred referring domains. A website might need some referring domains, that number. So if you're just doing it for referring domains, then I would suggest you just create yourself a little PBN that you can use to make your 25 referring domains to each domain, 25, 50, whatever you need on average, and then you'll be all right. Can you go into some details about 25 initial links? Could the method be scaled for mass ecom pages? It can be. Ted is the impetus for that idea, because he was working for a major ecom site business, right? And every time he published, he had this PHP system that essentially, as I envision it, it was an RSS feed, published a new product, and then the RSS feed, essentially, think like Zapier, for example, sent out something to his PHP websites that essentially said, "Oh, look, there's this new product," and that's how he was auto generating the 25 referring domains with that ecom. But you can certainly scale that. I mean, if you might have issues if you only had, let's say you only had 25 domains and you're putting out 50,000 products a day, probably going to be some problems with that. But if you're just doing, 10, 15, 20 products a day, you can certainly create a system. Think like IFTTT, that whole network where they send out all of those Web 2s or whatever. That's essentially the same exact thing that Ted was doing, but Bradley and the Semantic Mastery guys were doing it with Web 2s. I'm doing it with SEO Autopilot. So we were all doing the exact same thing, and just different road to get down there. And at scale, if you're doing a whole lot of them, you're probably going to want to go the IFTTT route versus the mass domain route. Because mine, I don't publish a whole lot. You know what I mean? So even for clients, for 4 months total. So doing what I do and putting them up on my 25 domains manually is not a big deal. But if you're in a cycle where you got to do a whole lot of this, then you got to figure out some automation stuff. And the IFTT rings will handle that automation for you, or following Ted's solution to that, creating, if you're a dev where you got a Dev Ninja RSS feed to PHP site generator, or like I do, I use Core Lite. I'll run the reports, Core Volatility Tool, get a couple different reports for the keyword and link to the website from via the report. And that works. So there's plenty of ways to skin that cat. If I build 30 links from 30 domains, what anchor text do you use? I use brand, and then sometimes I use exact match, but not very often exact match, more phrase match. So if you do your exact match search in Google and then scroll down and pick some of those related terms, those are better for tier 1. Not to say that you can't use exact match. I mean, we ranked page with 15,000 exact match anchors in the backlinks and footers, no less, and it worked totally fine. You don't want to get crazy with that stuff. So I mean, the 15,000 was a test. So I prefer my tier 1s to all be brand. But I will, don't get me wrong, if I'm stuck and the brand's just not moving it for me, then I'll drop some exact match in there. By that time, you get 25 referring domains and you got all your other backlinks that you build. So throwing in some exact match isn't going to kill anything. Could you still share your anchor text distribution? No. Not on a recorded video. Nope. I actually sometimes when I do presentations and stuff, I'll do those, but at conferences, and I'll talk about some variations and some ways to handle that. But you won't ever see it in a recording or on a video. So let's see what else is going on. Online just no problem. Thanks for coming and asking. If you guys don't ask questions and I don't have any content to talk about, it make me research shit. Still looking for something interesting to write about. Us SEOs, man. You look through all the content, right? I got Feedly set up, all those RSS feeds, and there's 957 posts in my RSS. This system that I keep, remember when I was doing talking about the SEO stories, and at the end of the day, we talk about the same shit over and over and over again. God, it's exhausting. Let's see. Here's a good one. When and how to use HTML sitemaps for SEO and user experience. That's an interesting topic. Comes to SEO for small sites, your site should be crawlable anyway. For large sites, they're not going to be useful anyway. That's kind of retarded. That's in regards to John Mueller saying HTML sitemaps. If you're using it for crawlability, they should be crawlable anyway. And if you're using it in your larger sites, they're not going to be useful anyway. So it's kind of weird to have them. I think it's personally a personal bias. I would say that HTML sitemaps, I like having them up. If I know that, especially like you're changing a whole bunch of URLs or something, right? So just for an instance, I have a client that I think the niche should be easy as hell to rank. I mean, he's not dumb in SEO either, and he thinks it should be easy as hell to rank. But no matter what we do to it, the page is like just sit there at number 5 and 6, position 5, position 6 on page 1. And we're like, what the F is going on? So I went through there and I just started actually retooling the URLs. Kind of cleaning some things up, thinking more Panda, maybe something is just off with the search results. And I'm not changing the final directory, but I did remove like the categories out of the URL structure and everything like that. And I don't very often mess around with URL stuff. It's almost my last resort thing to fix. I know a lot of people will go in there and just start changing URLs and go all full nutso. But I think I figure if it's a pre-existing site, it's already there, it's already in the index. And why mess around with the URL structure? Because it could be very detrimental. And then you just told your client, oh, I got to change all your URLs. And now they're not ranking. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, well, we just got to wait it out until Google likes us again. When really what you just did is essentially screwed up all the backlinks and all that mess, right? So I do that. I'll do that last. If nothing else bad works, I'll do that. And then I like using the HTML sitemap and I'll resubmit that page, the XML sitemap, and the new page to the Search Console and to the APIs or in my indexers or whatever, just to make sure that everything is getting recrawled properly. I don't want to leave no doubt whatsoever. The redirects are there, the sitemap is read, and the page is there self too, so that once that redirect kicks in, it's actually, it won't screw with the rankings, and Google will keep that page there until it cycles through its process and changes the URL. So So that's why I like using HTML sitemaps. From a usability perspective, though, I can't remember the first or the last time I've ever went to an HTML sitemap unless I'm doing like some kind of site research. Um, so I won't say I think you should have them, but they are a good tool set. Even if you want to, put it in your footer to make sure that all the pages get crawled. If it's in the footer, then all the pages link to that, and then all of the HTML sitemap links to all the pages on your website. So you never really have an orphaned page sitting on your website because your HTML sitemap will take care of that. But you do want to have more than one, but it's not orphaned. So that works out. G-Man, 2 GBPs, the same address, different niches, any best practices? I am not the guy to ask for the map stuff. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but I mean, honestly, if it's different niches, it sounds to me like you'd be okay versus from what I understand and what I know, like 2 law offices or 2 plumbers or 2 roofers in the same building. Only one of them is going to get ranking, and what's that stupid update that did that? It's not a penguin panda. What the hell is the name of it? Oh, what the hell is the name of it? Stupid update. That's gonna bug me all day. I'll just call it Pelican. I can't remember the name of that stupid update. But there was an update that that did that. So if you had 2 maps it's like a proximity thing. 2 businesses that are too close together, and Google's just going to choose one, and then there's these other things that go along with it. But you have 2 different niches. Unless they're the same name, I think you should be okay in ranking them both together. But I mean, that's opinion because I don't mess a whole lot with maps. I mean, we just hired a guy he's a white hat guy, but he knows maps, and he's got access because of his activity in the Google forums and stuff to some of the Google product managers and all that stuff to help us along. But for the most part, he does all that. I don't really mess with that map shit. Do you have a tip of cheap rank tracker? I don't know if it's cheap, but SEO Power Suite's rank tracker is the only one that I really use these days. I did use Nightwatch. Nightwatch is a good one. A little bit more expensive. Agency Analytics, that's complete utter trash. So don't use that. And what was the other one? SE Ranking. They had a good one too. But all of them lie to one extent or another. And I've just found that SEO Power Suite lies a little bit less than the rest of the online ones. So take that for what it is. Last week you started to talk how Google uses ngrand. And you mentioned some tool that can exploit that effect. I don't think I mentioned the tool. I know that Josh Brzezinski came out of the tool, but to me, it just kind of it looked like End Topic, and he just changed the names, right? So, at the end of the day, what is that? End Topic. All right, I'll list a couple of tools that could help you look at those strings a little better. So there's End Topic. End Topics, this one right here. Right. And it has like phrase lists. So 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, 4 words. So there's End Topic. Website auditor. And this one right here, website auditor, has TDI, TF-IDF, which is right here. And you see the screenshot, there's a couple of 2-word strings, and you can go even more. I think it's got some 3-word strings, and you can play around with that. What is the other one? End topic alternative. There was, let's go idea. This one, TF-IDF tool. It does pretty much the same thing. It makes these word lists, and you get some phrases and stuff. What I don't like about these tools is it kind of limits, right? So you get single word and 2 words. There's some keyword density tools that show you multiples. Let's see, keyword density analyzer. And these are all older tools that did this. Let's see if this one does it. Let's give it one of the digitally pages. Let's see what it does. Yeah. Yeah, this one don't do it. Oh, there it is. 2 words, 3 words, 4 words. So this is a pretty good one. Instead of paying, you can use something like this. This is smallseotools.com. But you basically want to find a TF-IDF tool that does this. And the idea is that each of these words, design means something, SEO means something, PPC means something, management means something. Let's zoom in, make sure you guys can see it. All these fucking ads, man, and people just got full-blown retarded with these ads. So yeah, ad free and ironic. So design, SEO, PPC, and management in and of themselves all mean things on their own. And then when you start pairing them up, design, SEO, PPC, PPC management, those mean all different things too. And then you have design, SEO, PPC management, which is another string. Now, if you're reading this in a sentence, tool set, 2 set, chosen ease, doesn't mean shit, right? Doesn't mean anything. Phone, place, solid orders doesn't mean anything. Partner, Phoenix, entrepreneurs, business. It could. There's business partners in Phoenix with entrepreneurs in the business. Owners, great idea. Profession doesn't mean anything. You really got to look at these and try to figure out what they mean. Because in this particular tool, it's just looking for these strings of words and saying, hey, that's used frequently. People visit store phone. I mean, they don't mean anything, but there are some stop words. My guess is this tool is removing stop words too. So, if and then, but so you got to really pay attention to this stuff if you want to mess with the semantics of it. Digital marketing agency. Digital means one thing. Marketing means one thing. Agency means one thing. You put them all together, they mean a completely different thing. Phoenix SEO agency, crawl it. See, these are much better at 3s, and then 2s should be pretty spot on. But find yourself one of these tools that you like working with. You don't need to pay someone to do that. The other option is that Ted has added, it's called Yake keywords, and then he's always had the LSI keywords inside of Quora, and that will spit out those 3 or 4 word combinations. And that's really what you're looking for. Don't go find a tool that's like pretending to be a BERT whisperer or any of that crap. Find a TF IDF tool that you like working in that can give you those 3 or 4 word combinations, and then start playing with that. Playing with those combinations in your content. Let's see what else we got here. Here's a question. Have you tested whether H2 is better as a question or a phrase? Exact keyword of variation, buzz related keyword. I mean, that's even if one of those was preferred over the other, it would be search term dependent, and then competition dependent. You know what I mean? Google's not gonna, just because I had HTs and purpose, right? If I was doing H2s, let's say FAQs, frequently asked questions, I do H2, and then the questions are in H3s, and that's just my habit of doing those. But if I'm doing H2s and writing a content outline for a weaker writer that I know is not very good at research, then I'll use H2s, related searches or questions. But there is no SEO benefit of picking one or the other. That's all keyword related. You said contact us, phone number, etc. In that regard, those are related. If you think about Mike Merlino, and he talks about for maps, for instance, the address is part of the brand. So when he's sending traffic impressions, he'll do the address, he'll do the phone number, he'll do the brand name, that kind of stuff. So I would think that those are okay. Like those address, phone number, etc. in H2s. But if it just said contact us, I wouldn't put that in H2s. I like to keep those on point. And what I mean is everything in there. If I'm ranking, let's say the digital or the Phoenix SEO page, I want to do as best as I can to not have unrelated. And you guys tell me if you can see the digital, the the extension I'm looking at. I don't want something in here that's unrelated to what I'm doing. On-page optimization, link building, branding, Phoenix, Arizona, technical SEO, all of those all relate to the topic of SEO, right? But I don't want to, I have it here. It's like about our services, important links, contact us. Typically, I want to avoid doing that because these are not related to Phoenix and they're not related to SEO. Links could be really, but at the end of the day, I would, in the best practices, I want to limit that amount of stuff. And I don't do that with just H2s. I try to do it with everything. At some point, you're going to have H2s in here. Like when the site was redesigned, the designer used H2s, and I just haven't gone back and fixed it yet. Right. But for the most part, you want to keep those as related as possible to your primary keyword, because if not, it's like giving your teacher at school an outline, but it has like random crap that's totally not related to the topic that your research paper was supposed to be written about in the first place. You want to avoid that inside of the page outlines. That Chrome extension is the distilled SEO. Distilled SEO extension. Detailed SEO extension. And I just use it in Ghost because SERPworks acts funny in Ghost these days. So I have that as my go-to now. And then SERPworks is there, but I got to turn it on and off when I'm messing with it. Let's see what else we got. Not very many people watching today. That's fine. And I just use it in Ghost. No, there you go. 17 you'll find, folks. Let's see, any questions in the Zoom? No, that's about it. Most press releases are in English. My website is in French. This is probably billing links. I mean, ideally you would want French. If your site is in French, you're serving French communities, you'd probably want some related press releases in French. But if you can't get them, you can't get them. So I would actually, how I would handle that is put the PR in English and then in there go, if you'd like to see the French version, this little blurb, right? You want to see the French version, go to this site, the brand name's website. And that'll just have a little paragraph in your anchor text in French, just saying, come read the French version of the press release here. Or really get more information here. And that one little sentence, and then you have your French anchor text. All that is probably more than enough. Yeah, the anchor text is, I think the anchor text is enough. Anchor text is where I believe the relevancy of is passed along. And so if you just have that, it would look weird to have an English press release and just some random French texturing in the middle of it. So if you shape it inside of a paragraph, I would think that would be more intentional and actually just look better for you. You know what I mean? In that press release, most people don't see the press releases anyway, but it's really, that's probably more of a getting it approved kind of thing. So that's how I would handle that. Oh, let's see. Let's see, any more questions? Nothing else on Zoom. So, oh, there you go. Just as I give up on you guys, someone comes right in. The tool that works for you. So, in my case, I use Clouds or Google Drives at tier 2, but you certainly can use GSA. I'm messing around. I got websites that are ranking completely fine with GSA links. So I'm messing around building all the tiers with GSA again. I mean, why not? If it's working and I got to do this at scale, then I can mess around with GSA. For the average person, tier 2 with GSA, probably would say stay away from it. Use autopilot. keep GSA down at the tier 5 level. If you for the average person, but if you know what you're doing with GSA is perfectly fine. But if you want to be safe, then SEO autopilot down there at tier 2 would be good too. So let's see what else is in the news. Give you guys a couple more minutes to ask any questions that you may have. Um, Mondays, got the Mondays. I mean, if you know how to use SEO autopilot, again, as I said, you have to test for yourself, and you can use if you can use autopilot at tier 1, then go for it. I got access to. I mean, I can buy guest posts, I can buy good PBNs and all that other stuff. So if I can do 10 or 5 to 10 paid links or outreach links or whatever, then why would I want to run an SEO autopilot campaign? I can just, order 5 links from somebody and be done with it. But I mean, if you can figure out an SEO autopilot and rank with it, and it doesn't take you any time at all to build that, then do that too, or do that instead. It's up to you. Thanks a lot, Paul. Appreciate it. Oh, one thing I did, the OpenAI, they're adding plugins, and I haven't seen it in mine yet. Let me see if it's there. I'm sure a bunch of you guys heard about this and stuff, and people bragging about it, but they want to add plugins to ChatGPT. One of the plugins will allow it to access the internet, for example. Some of the plugins that were shown off would allow for what the hell was it? Like Zapier has a plugin, reading the internet. There's one plugin I thought was cool. You can actually give it a CSV, and it'll create graphs and charts for you. That was pretty neat, and a bunch of other stuff. So check that out. If you don't see it in your account yet, it might not be just might not be turned on. I know they were saying they're going to roll it out. I have that AI PRM from thing turned on, Chrome extension turned on, so maybe that's hiding mine. I'm not sure, but that's those plugins. Let's see, what does it say here? We are gradually rolling out access to ChatGPT users. Please sign up for our waiting list. So yet another waiting list, and join the waiting list. Yeah, so join the waiting list to get in access to the plugins. Let me see if I can read about the plugins. What do they got here? Expedia plugin. Okay. I guess if you want to, have Expedia do it. Open table. Speak another language. Learn how to say anything in another language with Speak, an AI powered language tutor. That'd be kind of cool. Hey, like if you're doing let's say it translates really good, right? You have content, you can actually go in there with that and have it potentially translate for you and save some money on Google Translate, depending on how good it is, obviously. Shop, you can shop on it. Zapier. A web browser and a code interpreter. Open source code for let's see what the code interpreter does. Can use Python and handle. We provide models working Python interpreter can run code run by our interpreter plugin is evaluated. That's cool. Cool. So if you're like me and you're using ChatGPT to learn Python, the code interpreter would be really good. And then what is the browsing? Yeah, it's got browsing. One of them is browsing. So that's cool. So if you're like using Bing, you use Bing. I use Bing quite a lot on my phone. That one actually searches, that version searches the internet and then gives you the answers based off of the searches. It generates the text based off the searches. So that seems natural to me that OpenAI would plug that into ChatGPT. They already gave it, Bing's got it. So why not plug it into the rest of the tool? That makes sense. Let's see. What do you think would be more natural career transition for an SEO to machine learning or software development? It can be a mindset related. It's also cybersecurity, lots of testing. Cybersecurity, I find that very, very interesting, and that is probably a skill set that will never go away. I mean, SEO is not going to go away anytime soon, but cybersecurity for sure is never going to go away. And then software development, in particular, software development that takes advantages of services that create APIs, i.e., the Open AI, and all of those other, as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of those models get better and better, you're going to get more access from the companies that can afford to create them, and that access is more than general going to come out as API stuff. So if you can make software that leverages those APIs and be good at that and fast enough to transition into that, then that would probably be a good way to go. Python right now is probably one of the most popular languages, and they're having a really hard time finding enough people to fill all those job posts for just Python. So I would look at that for sure. For me, I'm learning Python, and then I will retool or revisit my learning journey into Java. Both of those developers in both of those can command a lot of money, and you can make a lot of tools with knowing those two things. But cybersecurity, man, I mean, to me, that's just fun. Right. So it's like, see if you can figure out how to break in, and then how did you do it? And then how do we keep people out of it? And it's a game of cat and mouse. And it's like you said, there's a lot of testing. So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with learning software dev or cybersecurity. Either one or both. Let's see. What else? Oh, they're saying that TikTok might get banned. I saw the news today. They might actually legitimately successfully pass the bill to ban TikTok. So that'd be interesting if they do that. And YouTube and Google, and I think YouTube, if TikTok got banned, I think YouTube would get a really good push for market share. If you're a software dev and you haven't created a service like TikTok, and then started promoting it like via SEO or in a mobile, as a TikTok alternative already, you might want to get on that. That would be a good way to capture some of that US market that disappears. YouTube does have shorts, To be honest, I'm not really a fan of the YouTube Shorts. And Facebook has the option too, but most of the people are just ripping shit off of TikTok and then putting it up on those services. So I think the the generation that is really leveraging TikTok probably is not a YouTube or Facebook Shorts fans. So that if you created something to replace TikTok and did it now before they decided, right, created an alternative, it'd be a good way to jump on that news and market a new product. A new positioning method. We're in the US, your stuff is here, it's all safe, whatever, right? That might be a good way to go. Especially now, if I was a TikTok user and I had a dependence on the income that TikTok gave me, I would be looking right now, regardless of whether they rather than waiting for them to make a decision on what is going to happen with them in the United States, I would just be ahead of the power curve and find alternative solutions. More than likely YouTube, right? That would be where those guys, the monetizers, the publishers that are actually making good money, would probably go. But as a to Ben's point, if I knew mobile apps and I knew how to do that and build a service like that, I would be all over that. That'd be a good one. Is it worth buying Oh, fuck. Don't ask me. Buy Microsoft stocks because of their ownership. The ownership of ChatGPT in and of itself is an investment for Microsoft because they're partnering so much with them and going to tie in ChatGPT into their other products more, and then tie in all the generative AI. Generative meaning it generates text, right? Or generates images. That's generative. Think of it as like a big autocomplete system. So it makes sense if Microsoft wants to implement those and make those a part of their product base, Microsoft Office, for instance, Bing, etc., that they would buy some ownership into it. And because OpenAI is currently the leader in generative text, I would argue that Midjourney is doing much better in image generation. But generative text and code generation using generative AI, it makes total sense for Microsoft to own that. And I would imagine that because OpenAI's generative AI is more trained and more refined than Google's, that it would probably be a good idea to invest in them. But I think you would be better off asking one of those financial dudes about that versus me, because it sounds like a good idea. It sounds like a good investment, but some of those guys know hell of a lot more about that than I would. Would I invest in them now? I think I would. I think I'd be comfortable knowing that they're or with all the rumored stuff that they're going to add OpenAI to. I think it would be cool to see how they did it. I would invest in it, see how they did it, and then see if that turned into something positive for my investment portfolio. Then I think it'd be all right. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. We just became an investment thing. If you make $1 million, just remember 5%, send it to my YouTube channel as a donation. I'd appreciate you. All right, guys. This has been SEO This Week, episode number 28. Kind of slow. But I appreciate all of you for showing up, watching, asking questions, and I will see you all